Welcome in to Outkick the show. I told you to buckle up that it was going to be a wild election night, and I still don't think we know for sure what is going to happen. Let me walk through with you the scenarios at play here. I believe, first of all, I hope you're having a good election night. I'm Clay Travis. If you like to gamble, go to fanduel.com/Clay and get hooked up right now. 25-1, Tennessee and Arkansas. That game going on this weekend. I still think this is going to come down to the Big Ten states. I have been saying for 4 years it was going to come down to what happened in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Trump won those states by 77,000 votes in 2016, a total of 77,000 votes. That's one Big Ten football stadium. And after all of the turmoil and all of the attention and everything else, there are basically 4 states that are out there at play: Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Here's the way it has to be set up. Trump is going to need to win 2 of those states, okay? Trump needs to win 2 of the states, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, or Pennsylvania, okay, in order to be elected president. There's also some votes in Maine, the way they split the Electoral College. There's also a vote in Nebraska. I think this thing is going to be going on for several days, and I think we may end up with a Florida 2000 recount-like situation at play before all is said and done. Let me explain why. First of all, we don't know what votes are being counted right now. Are these votes absentee ballots? Are they early votes? Are they mail-in votes? Or are they votes that are being cast today? Different states are reporting in different ways. Let me give you an example. Ohio, Joe Biden had an early lead because they were putting in the early votes and the absentee votes and the mail votes into the tallies at an early point. And then Donald Trump, all of the day of votes, skyrocketed, and he found a way to take off and win Ohio with what looks like is going to be ease. And the same thing happened in North Carolina, where you had a big lead for Joe Biden in North Carolina based on votes that had come in that had been tallied and tabulated early. And then Trump appears to have caught up in North Carolina. So all of the routes to easy victory for Joe Biden were blocked by Trump all over the South. Texas didn't happen. Florida didn't happen. North Carolina didn't happen. And now we are in that battleground where it's going to come down to Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. And the complicated factor here is there are so many different types of votes arriving at different times that we don't know whose vote is in early. I tend to think that a lot of the day of votes are being reported here. So Trump is going to have a lead in several of these states. But then that lead is going to start to disappear as the early votes start to come in. So what can we take away so far? I think this is still a race without a clear victor. All right, I really do. I understand people are exulting, people are celebrating. I think this is going to go on for several days. I don't think we're going to have a resolution tonight. I was hoping that we were going to have a resolution. I don't think that we are. I also think, beyond a shadow of a doubt, many of the polls have been proven to be yet again wildly wrong. Trump won Florida decisively. He's going to win by 3.5 points or so. He won Ohio decisively. He's going to win by 7 or 8 points. The question that I have, and I think it's a good one, and I think it's the most significant as we roll through the Big Ten states, is how representative of the way that Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan are going to vote is Ohio, okay? Because Trump increased his margin in Ohio pretty substantially. On those border regions, the areas, if you spent any time in Big Ten country, are Michigan and Ohio going to vote in tandem in terms of the percentages? If so, then Trump would win in Michigan, he would win in Pennsylvania, and he would win in Wisconsin because he's increasing his electoral margin in Ohio. Or is Ohio a particularly good state for Donald Trump, And that translation is not going to occur in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, and in Wisconsin. I think this thing is going to be white knuckler. People want to talk about what race it reminds me of. The answer is 2000. Except I think we might have multiple Floridas here where we're spending a lot of time waiting to see who's going to win multiple states. I think that there are going to be a lot of tight votes in the Midwest. And when the ballots are allowed to be received, what counts as a vote. For those of you who are old enough to remember, we went through this before down in Florida, where we had 37 days of uncertainty after the election. And all of us who are old enough to remember, they hand counted all the votes in Florida. And they were like, is this a vote? Is this, we call the thing the hanging chads. Do you remember where you look at it and you try to determine? They had Republicans and Democrats looking at ballots and trying to determine what was and what was not a vote. I think this thing, I told you from the get-go that this thing was going to come down to the Big Ten states. I've been saying it for several years. There were people who wanted to say, oh, Biden's going to win in a blowout. It's going to be crazy. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a white knuckler on both sides. I do think, however, that it's likely that the Republicans are going to control the Senate. So if you look at those numbers and actually consider it, then it would mean that it's hard for Biden to do a lot of crazy things if the Republicans control the Senate. It looks like they're going to keep the seat in North Carolina. It looks like they're going to keep the seat in Georgia. They flipped the seat. Tommy Tuberville, former Auburn football coach, has won. The Democrats lost in Colorado. There's probably, it looks like Iowa's going to be a nail biter in terms of where that Senate seat goes. But by and large, maybe in Maine as well with Susan Collins, but it appears that the Republicans are likely, I say, to maybe win the Senate by one vote. If you're kind of trying to count tea leaves. That matters in a big way if Biden pulls a rabbit out of his hat and finds a way to win in the Midwest. I'm curious what Biden's going to say tonight. I'm curious what Trump is going to say tonight. The lawyers are going to get involved on both sides, and this is going to be a bare-knuckle brawl. Now, what was interesting is the odds markets have fluctuated wildly in the election, okay? Initially, there was a run about 9:20 Eastern where Trump went to a massive favorite to win the election, about 9:20 Eastern. And that was interesting because it was almost a dead replica of what happened in 2016, except that market went haywire at 9:35. The difference is the numbers have come back down and Trump is favored, but he's not favored by a lot. And I think this thing is going to end up, like I said, back close to 50-50 before all is said and done. And it comes down to 4 states: Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Unlikely, I think, that any other state is going to end up close enough where we have a real battleground situation going on. Right now, Biden is up in Arizona. If he wins that one, then he has to win 2 out of the 3 Big Ten states. Biden has to win 3 of those 4 states. Trump is going to have to win 2. Now, this is assuming there's nothing else crazy that's going on, that suddenly there's not a massive flip in Georgia or North Carolina or Iowa or one of those places, or something goes haywire and we don't anticipate a election result. And so, man, this is going to be an absolutely chaotic situation, I really do think. And look, it's possible the odds markets are continuing to move while I'm talking to you right now. In fact, I'm certain of it. But the one thing we can eliminate, and I didn't think it was likely to begin with, is we're not going to have a landslide scenario. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have a bare-knuckle brawl over who wins, where they win, what the final votes end up looking like. And I wouldn't even try and hazard a guess at what exactly that's going to look like. In general, I would rather be in Trump's position because he only has to win 2 out of the 4 states remaining. He only has to win Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, 2 out of those 4. And again, there could be some different math if things happen in Maine and things happen in Nebraska with those individual electoral votes. I'm sure you guys can even build out a map where it ends up tied up 269 to 269, if I'm not mistaken. And then that would get tossed into the House where Trump would end up winning. But again, I haven't done the aggressive math to try to figure out exactly what that's going to be. But my goodness, there is a ton at stake, and I don't think we're going to have clarity at all tonight. I will say this. There were a lot of people telling you this was going to be a wipeout, that Biden was going to win easily, that it wasn't going to be remotely competitive. That certainly is no longer in the repertoire here. Trump has turned out a massive amount of followers. He has fought a real battle against Biden, and I just really don't know where this is going to go from here, except that I think it's going to be decided by the Big Ten states. So, buckle up. I told you earlier today, buckle up. I would have liked to have come on here and said, hey, we've got a certain resolution, but this is not a mirror image yet of 2016. I think it's going to be even tighter than 2016, if that's possible. Trump, right now, and Biden battle going to continue for several days. I appreciate all of you, and I'll be live tomorrow on the radio. Jason Whitlock has been watching the election results come in with me all night. He will be on the radio program tomorrow. We'll probably be talking a lot on the radio about the election. There's nothing else going on. Let's be honest. We'll open up the phone lines. We'll have an interesting conversation. I appreciate all of you. My name is Clay Travis. I hope you all went out and voted. I certainly did. It's great to be an American. Buckle up. It may get a little wild before all is said and done. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. I am Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the show. Kisses from me to all of you. Get ready. I'll come back late tonight if somehow there's some form of further resolution, but I just don't think we're going to have enough clarity from all the votes that are coming in to know exactly who is winning and what the final results are going to be. I appreciate all of you. By the way, good job, Florida, to not be the state holding everybody up. Ron DeSantis was on with us this morning, and he told us exactly what was going to happen. Trump won soundly in Florida. I would say the biggest question is how representative is Ohio of what's going to happen in the rest of the Big Ten. If it is, Trump's going to win. If it's not representative, then Biden has a real chance to get a victory. Again, Ohio, does it resemble Pennsylvania? Does it resemble Michigan? Does it resemble Wisconsin? And where are those votes coming in? How many are left outstanding? All of that is going to be huge. I appreciate all of you. My name is Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the show.